Last episode we saw the Russian Civil War and many hits of the Great Depression. The severe weakening of leads to doesn't lead to that much some communist, but the defeat of the communists does make fascism a lot more weak, as there isn't the big red threat. While speaking of Spain, in this timeline, the nationalist government still exists, as the Red Scares are a lot more prominent in Spain. Catalonia is basically anarchist. So, in this alternate history, mm, it happens due to the Great Depression and the collapse of the former government into multiple factions, this being the anarchist CNT-FAI controlling this, the Lash, the Carlists, or which have allied themselves with the conservatives, and the Mosque. These are the three rebellions at the start, but this also includes the Spanish Moroccan army. And, some Falangist revolutionaries near the south of Spain. The French start aiding communist insurgents, which launches a coup against the government and declare themselves the true government. While the remnants of the Republican government, which is now just Mallorca and its islands, decide have basically been trying to be still independent. The communists quickly start destroying many armies as the Phalangists. With French help, they are able to destroy the anarchist CNT-FAI, but they do struggle against the Carlists. The Carlists are able to make huge offensives with their conquest of the Basque. The collapse this leads to their offensive. Many Spanish troops but since they don't have any aids, they are only able to move just a bunch of troops. But that is until a series of boats from Italian allies move into Valencia. This is also in the wake of a French-aided massive offensive, and Spain turned into a proxy war between Britain, France, and Italy. The Italians invaded the Republican government, Great Britain, but the Spanish Carlists quickly captured this area, and as the Catalonians are greatly weakened. This causes communists basically collapse, ending in a pro-nationalist ending as the Workers' Revolution is defeated by the oh, no, I'm sorry, this is according to alternate French propaganda that the Workers' Revolution has been subdued in Spain, so they must hold the hope, so, or something. So, by the way, Kemal Atatürk was the only thing holding Turkey together, but uh, but he got assassinated in the Ottoman interregnum, which ends up in this weak version of the Ottomans. This ends up in new spheres of influence. But what is the catalyst for the Second World War? This is the catalyst for the Second World War is actually started by the communists. The communists moved into Danzig. The city quickly falls, but this leads to mass. Poland joins the war. Same with Prussia and Southern Germany. Prussia and Southern Germany are the same thing, but Prussia is basically now independent, with its regional government building new things and not actually being a Freikorps puppet, but a puppet of the old imperial military. The Italians are also joined the war for the Axis alliance, not Greece, and same with Serbia. The French joined the war too, then start an invasion of Belgium and Luxembourg. The start of the war is looking terrible for the communists, but the French have militarized the military. A lot of the industries are owned by the northern Germans, and the Rhine could be easily captured. So they have a pretty good long-term advantage if we don't count food, if the war stays like this. At the start of the war, both Luxembourg and Belgium fall as French troops move into northern Germany. With the Netherlands becoming the only hope, they decide to invade the Netherlands, which is relatively pro-Entente, causes the Brits to join the war. The Poles are able to make massive breakthroughs in Silesia, and the Italians in Corsica. But the Italians are actually unprepared in this timeline, but even though they have a different leader than Mussolini, they still do struggle. As French troops start moving into here, and the lines slowly solidify as troops move into Berlin. Northern Germany becomes more and more weaker. This also means troops also move into modern-day Tuscany. Veneto becomes a stronghold, and the Papal States with the Swiss Guard decide to declare independence as Italy surrenders. The peace treaty is just the French don't demand anything about the peace treaty. But they do want Southern Tyrol for their German ally, which is now officially part of the Germans. But but this is because the Italian government completely collapsed, and the socialist sympathizer government under the Socialist Party is put essentially to the Po River becomes the new baseline. Apulia, Amalfi, and Sicily were carved into numerous warlord states in the south. The French are unable to do anything about the papacy. The papacy is now independent. Same in Dalmatia is annexed. The Serbians capture Dalmatia. As you can see, troops decide to solidify the lines of the remnants of the North Italian Workers' Front and move into the remnant states up north. Tyrol gets overthrown and then invaded by the Germans. Many Italians see this as an act of treason for the Axis. So the Venetians and Lombardians leave the conflict. They launch a mass offensive to take what remained of their homeland. With this, we see the peace. With this, the Venetians and the Lombardians are able to solidify their territory. Both of them unite into the Italian Republic. The Kingdom of Italy is now the Kingdom of Sardinia and is now the Kingdom of Two Sicilies, and also controls France. It's still in the war, but it has basically collapsed and is now on Mont. While in the north, the Poles are able to take Danzig. With Italy becoming just anarchic, some territories in the north are taken. The Brits attempt an D-Day-like offensive, even though the French have a stupid amount of fortifications on the coast. But challengingly, it succeeds. Troops quickly move in, but the Seine River stops them and its fortifications, causing this invasion to in the long term fail. With the destruction of British troops leads to Britain signing a peace treaty. Another humiliation for the United Kingdom and the Northern Ireland. Years 1938, the war has been going about for 4 years. and the vital lines of state wars. But there are some shocking news. The Polish king died.